Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the what the fuck are we calling this?
Rumble Pak.
The Rumble Pak Podcast.
How did you forget that?
I was on the spot. The Rumble Pak Podcast. This is the intro. We're using it. So I am your host, Omar from Yomarz. With me are
I'm Ishan from ePad and Okamo.
and
I am Jesse from Virtual Sleaze / Desthetic. You can subscribe to me on youtube.com/sleaze / Desthetic.
We can get the plugs
and follow
out.
me on Twitter at Virtual Sleaze. Thank you, Yomar. Back to you.
well, we can do plugs at the end later. So what I want to do with this podcast is I kind of want to have free-form discussion structured around us talking about a specific game. And over the past month, we've been playing The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask on the Nintendo 64. Not the GameCube, not the 3DS version.
Not the Wii Virtual Console.
Not the Wii Virtual Console. What else is there?
Is it on Wii U? No, okay, I guess.
Oh, it's on Wii U in Europe.
Yeah,
Not in North America. Yeah.
What?
But we don't have an import
Why?
Wii U from Europe. And we're not playing the Wii U version.
Point of story, we're playing the 64 version because
Yeah.
that's the original version.
So, when did you guys first play Majora's Mask?
When did I first play it, or when did I first play through it?
When did you first play it, and when did you first play through it?
Oh man.
my first time playing was at Jesse's house, and he was guiding me through it, and I got as far as the first dungeon, maybe the second dungeon. I thought it was interesting. I played Ocarina of Time at that point, so some things were familiar, but Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess were my first two, so they were similar, and Majora's Mask is very different, so I didn't play it until I got the Collector's Edition a year later. So I played the Collector's Edition. I thought it was really hard, but that's because I skipped over the side quest, which was 70% of the game, and that made it hard because I didn't get much of the pieces of heart or the Great Fairy upgrades or anything like that.
So you kind of just like bull rushed through the game.
And then
I mean, that's fine for a first playthrough.
Well,
right?
yeah,
Just play
especially
it
when
at your
you're,
own-
especially a game like that where a lot of it is about the side quest. When someone's first playing through it, they're not going to be thinking about like, oh, let's do a side quest. You're going to be like, okay, let's just play through the game and see what there is.
Yeah, like coming from Ocarina of Time, you didn't really have to play the side quests in that.
Because
did you?
it barely existed.
Yeah, there's not really much.
But since I 2 years later, I decided to just play back the game on the same file and just Song of Time until I finished exploring everything, and then I realized how much fun I was having, because then I realized that the side quests and stuff were really good.
I remember the first time I played it, it was at my friend's house, probably like 2000, 2003 maybe. And I remember he had a bunch of 64. He had games like like Quake and Smash Bros. And such. He also had Majora's Mask. So I remember playing that. I don't remember like the beginning, but I remember we spent a lot of time at the southern swamp trying to figure out how to get past the giant Octorok. So that was like my first experience playing that. Eventually I got it on 64 and the GameCube. That's where I like sort of played through it and sort of just kind of like fell in love with it, just because it was kind of game that you could just walk around and just explore and just have fun stuff. And it wasn't even about the main story. That was kind of the thing I liked about it, how it's really about the environment. And
Yeah, it's all about the atmosphere and the world it builds.
yeah, so I really enjoy like playing that. It's like every time I play a little bit more, and it just like makes you just think about all like the little areas that you liked about it. Because like when I first saw the game, I saw a friend playing it. Well, my brother's friend playing it. It was sort of later in the game, so I sort of got like little bits and pieces of it until I played it through myself, and then it all connected for me.
I didn't grow up playing Majora's Mask. I didn't have an N64 as a kid. The only time I played Ocarina was, I know, for shame. I didn't
PlayStation scrub.
I loved my PlayStation, man. Fuck you.
I had PlayStation too.
Yeah.
I had like 2 games for it.
I only played Ocarina of Time when I rented an N64 from Blockbuster. So I also played Pokemon Snap. Those were my 2 games when I would rent an N64 from Blockbuster.
Did you ever do the the snap machine thing at
No,
Blockbusters.
But I rented the N64 because I saw those and I was like, oh my god, that's the coolest thing in the world. You can print your photos, man.
I only had 3 games for it. It was Spyro the Dragon, Metal Gear Solid, and Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Well, I mean, there are worse games to have.
Although a lot of the games that were released for that, I end up either like playing beforehand, typically for the 64. But Majora's Mask was 64 exclusive, so people who were lucky enough to have Nintendo 64 had the luxury of playing that first party title.
I first played Majora's Mask like a year and a half ago when me and my buddy Hunter were trying to do a Let's Play. This is back when I did Let's Plays on Yomarz.
Fucktown Part 2, the climax.
Oh god. Click this link in the video to go to Fucktown. I've heard that. My most viewed video on YouTube.
Hashtag Yomarz Fucktown.
Oh yeah. Put that on a t-shirt. That'll be my first merch.
Straight out of Fucktown.
So yeah, that was the first time I played it. And he didn't really know what the fuck he was doing. He was just like, yeah, I played this a lot as a kid. And this is what you do. You talk to these people in Clocktown.
And this is coming from the guy who took a year to beat Sonic Adventure 2.
He did borrow Sonic Adventure 2 from me for a year.
Oh, right.
Well,
Yeah,
that was that guy. And
oh wait, he also like scarfed down a bunch of fries when we were eating.
Oh yeah. Okay, side note.
Hunter, we love you, buddy.
I don't know if I should have used his name. Well, whatever. Didn't use his last name.
Too late. We did a whole Minds will make a big one.
Mentioned his name.
Yeah, I know. So this friend of mine is quite the animal when he eats. We went to Taco Bell once and he just got like all the fucking food on the menu.
He ordered the menu.
But he's classy about it.
Yes.
Because he also got a giant mountain of napkins. Because he knew he was going to make the biggest mess in the world. So as he was scarfing down his tacos, always soft shell and always without lettuce, just cheese and meat.
Why is it called soft shell? We just call it tortilla, like a soft tortilla. Soft shell implies that whatever.
Not a shell. Yeah.
Anyways,
you wouldn't call a slug a soft shell snail.
What? What?
Okay, but Majora's Mask. Back to the topic.
Marjorie's Mask.
I first beat the game today. Woo! With these two guys, as we've been playing it for the past month. Just
mainly Ishan.
Yeah, mainly Ishan. He's the one who's played the game like 50 times. How many times have you played through it?
50 times.
Okay. So,
yeah, for me, Majora's Mask was like I played through it a couple of times, but not most of my playthroughs. I don't end up playing through the entire game because I usually end up getting bored towards the end half of the game because I spend most of my time just wandering around like the overworld and like hub and stuff and just doing whatever.
Seems like it's a good game for just wandering and getting lost and immersing yourself in the world, especially for that generation of games.
Yeah, especially compared to Ocarina of Time, where the overworld was, green fields for the eyes. I mean, you gotta admit, you gotta like look at the time though that it was huge.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There wasn't much to do in it, but look at like how big it looked and just how widespread, and graphically wise, it did look good.
Yeah.
But just Majora's Mask did it better. Also, Majora's Mask had an expansion pack, so, it also has that benefit.
That's true. The expansion pack unlocking all the graphical capabilities.
It does so much for that game. Like, I'm really curious to see what it would have looked like without it.
With the expansion pack, they could do crazy things like motion blur.
Ooh.
I know Ishan here loves the motion blur. I can't fucking stand it.
Yeah, because they use it all the time, and it just seems like they just add it for the sake of adding. It doesn't really add to something that would benefit from having it.
The game's a trippy game. It has a lot of weird sequences and like trippy sequences, and for stuff like that, like the scenes where after you beat the boss of a dungeon and you see the giants in the distance and Tattle's talking to you about like their history and whatever. Those it's fine having all the motion blur encompass the screen. It's dreamlike, it's surreal, but they use it all the fucking time in just normal cutscenes.
And it gets to the point where you're questioning to yourself, is this motion blur or lag?
Sometimes I'm positive it's lag being covered up by motion blur.
That is possible too.
Well, if they're using it then to disguise a system limitation, then there's no problem with it. If they're using it that often.
That's true. I mean, it is better than just having laggy cutscenes. The other big thing about the expansion pack, the other graphical thing, is colored lighting and just lighting effects. They go balls to the wall with those lighting effects. And
there's a lot of lighting. Also, polygons. Holy crap! I know I'm the one who's like crazy over this, but if you consider a lot of like the really polygony looking games on 64, like Super Mario 64 or Quest, or even kind of games like that, and you look at just the first boss of Dual Wall and just how much shit goes on. You have this big open battlefield. You have this boss with just texture and just things all covering it with whatever tattoos or mask or whatever it has, and then it summons these flies and it summons fire, and there's so much going on. It's like
a lot of particles.
You look at all these things it has that it wouldn't without the expansion pack. And as a 64 game, that is really impressive. I feel like is something that is overlooked when looking back at the game. Just people looking back like, oh, it's just a 64 game that looks nice. Like there's a reason for that.
What does the expansion pack do? Is it like a RAM upgrade? What does it do?
Just adds more to a Nintendo 64 game that it couldn't handle before.
Okay, so just allowing for it's not like a new console. It's not like a new generation. No. It's just like a small upgrade. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a PlayStation Neo.
Yeah, and it's not like every game needs it. Like certain games like Donkey Kong 64 Majora's Mask do need it, but other games like Rogue Squadron, you can still play it, but it just upgrades the graphics. Games like Perfect Dark, you don't need it, but that's the only way you can play story mode. So it's not just like a must-have for games.
Aren't some of the levels playable in Perfect Dark without the expansion pack?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure like just like the main story mode.
Oh,
you need the expansion pack to play.
Okay, yeah. I was under the impression that for a lot of these games, the expansion pack was kind of optional. So can you even play? Can you launch?
Some games were.
Can you launch Majora's Mask without the expansion pack?
No.
It won't Will it just yell at you?
No, it just won't boot up.
I just won't boot up.
Okay. Like I said, some games do require, other games don't. Other games are sort of half and half.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice that it didn't force everyone to buy these. There's just a couple games like, hey, if you want to play some of these games, you should get this, but you don't need to have it, which is nice as opposed to making a whole new console and having everyone's like, oh, if you want these new games, get this, but it's still on 64.
What did that thing MSRP for? The expansion pack.
I don't know back then, but I know nowadays you can get it probably for around like $30, which just still feels kind of expensive for me, but
$30. It's a 4 megabyte upgrade for the Nintendo 64. 4 whole megabytes. I have 32 gigs of RAM or something installed on this thing. Yeah. Technology changes. I don't think I could get a 4 meg upgrade for the RAM of my system, and it would allow me to play
you should find a way to put an expansion pack in your computer and make it work.
It'll up it 2 frames a second in a game.
Oh yeah, man, that makes all the difference.
Oh yeah.
If you go from 58 frames to 60 frames, you can tell those 60 frames.
I was watching some YouTube video that was showing it was a demo of a $1,000 HDMI cable. You know how they always try to rip you off by telling you, oh, get this gold-plated HDMI cable because it'll make your
transfer speed faster.
Yeah, it'll make your shows look better. There was this ridiculous $1,000 HDMI cable, and I don't know what made it so. I think it was just
it says Yeezy on it.
It came with a plain white tee, and this YouTube channel they tried overclocking the refresh rate of their monitor. I didn't even know that you could do this. You could overclock the display refresh rate of your monitor, and they upped it from 60 to 62 frames per second.
Why?
Because they could do that with the power of this $1,000 HDMI cable.
I'm never putting that much into HDMI cable.
I won't put more than $10.
Unless I was at the point where I'm just wiping my ass with $100 bills. No way.
I won't even go to Best Buy to buy cables anymore because they overcharge the shit out of you.
Oh, they do that for everything there.
Yeah, that's true.
It says here that Majora's Mask, the expansion pack, was used to enhance the graphics
has increased texture detail, removing fog.
Oh yeah, the view
increased
distance is a
shot
lot bigger.
distance,
Yeah.
and increased the number of on-screen models. So without the expansion pack, Clocktown wouldn't work.
Oh, because they have so many people in town. Oh, I guess
you wind up in town and everyone's just gone. It's like, where is everyone? This is truly hell.
I guess compared to like Castletown or Kakariko Village, there are a lot more NPCs in Majora's Mask, right?
Yeah, it's just like a couple of people here and there.
Yeah.
And also in Clocktown, everything was kind of like just a big pop-up book. It's just like picture textures
that's true,
around. Majora's Mask had like full buildings and everything.
Hyrule Market?
Looked at, Hyrule Market.
Yeah, I remember
Everything
it reminded
looked
me of like playing Final Fantasy VII or like Final Fantasy VIII, where just like the JPEG backgrounds all pixelated in the background.
It's like, am I playing Zelda or Paper Mario? Paper Zelda, make that a thing. That'd be interesting.
The expansion pack is as much of an example as the new 3DS, except the new 3DS is a brand new hardware.
Oh yeah, I guess so. But yeah, you can't just install a little upgrade slot in your 3DS.
Yeah, I mean, with a new 3DS, you still have to buy a new console.
Yeah. And
It's
with
still
it,
like 3DS, but it's nothing different than like like a DS and DSi, or
also-
like a Game Boy and a Game Boy Color.
you also get that sick little rubber nipple on the side for the C-stick.
You can't run Xenoblade on regular 3DS. You can barely run Hyrule Warriors Legends.
Oh yeah.
On
Oh, so
3DS.
does Hyrule Warriors Legends run a lot better on new 3DS?
Yeah.
No, but I don't think it's like a similar comparison to the expansion pack, because that's still just like something you're adding on to your console.
Well,
It's not like a plug-in thing you can put into your normal 3DS.
Yeah. I mean, what would be comparable? Like the 32X? Something like that? Sticking shit on your Sega Genesis?
Even though they play different kinds of games, that would be similar, just because you're still, I mean, it's still kind of another system, but you're still adding on. You still need this like main thing to play the others.
That's true, yeah.
I believe. I don't have a 32X.
Yeah, I don't think I can. I have the Sega Genesis 3, I believe, like the smaller, crappy one. I don't know if I can use attachments.
I think it only works for the old models.
Yeah, it's only the first generation of Sega Genesis. Yeah.
Or like the CD adapter to a Jaguar.
Oh yeah,
That you definitely need a Jaguar for. A Jaguar.
a Jaguar. Yeah, I kind of regret getting the Genesis 3. I think it was from.
I had that from I got my Genesis. I don't have it anymore, but I got mine from a yard sale.
How much was it?
Maybe 25, but it came with a bunch of games too, which was actually really good. Got games like Rocket Knight Adventures and Sonic 1 and 2 and whatnot.
That's nice. I think I got my Genesis when we were at that game store on Black Friday.
Oh yeah,
They
usually
had
have,
like the console bundles.
yeah, they usually have sales there.
Yeah, I think I got it for like $10, but yeah, I found out later that the Genesis 3 has inferior sound quality and it warps a lot of the sounds that the original Genesis had.
I remember when the first like a video I did a long time ago was I don't think it's on YouTube anymore, but it was a Rocket Knight Adventures review, and I went to go like use my Genesis 3 to record with my capture card, and it wasn't working because Genesis is weird with your like chords and shit. So I ended up having to use the emulator, and also I thought the part of the game was broken, but turns out I just had a really shitty controller that one of the buttons didn't work. So for my first time playing through Rocket Knight Adventures, I didn't know you could jump.
Oh.
I thought you had like boosts everywhere. Man, was I wrong.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I have the Sega Genesis 2, not the 3. The 3's even smaller and kind of crappier.
Yeah, I had the 3 from what I remember. It was like really tiny. Almost like Pocket Genesis.
Yeah. Did you see that it's like an HD Sega Genesis that actually takes Genesis cartridges, like a plug-and-play kind of system? I saw this in Toys R Us.
If you did, then I was with you.
Yeah.
We were with you.
Let me look this up.
I remember we saw something like that. I don't remember if it could play cartridges or not.
Here you go. The at-game Sega Genesis Classic Game Console. It comes with 80 games, 2 wireless controllers, and it actually takes Sega Genesis carts. That's kind of what I wanted from the NES Mini.
Yeah,
Genesis
I saw this
Mini.
thing to someone else before. I said to someone that Sega made something like the NES Mini, but I guess they were thinking of something else.
Yeah, I have no clue how good this thing is, but it's tiny, it's HD, it has wireless controllers, and it takes actual game cards, and it has a bunch of games built in.
And if you want Yomarz review, send it to P.O. Box Yomarz.
P.O. Box. Yeah, that's the number of the P.O. Box. And to P.O. Box Yomarz. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video on this thing. Like, as the NES Mini is closer to coming out. That might be interesting, because nobody's talked about this thing. I'm sure somebody's talked about it.
Because it came out a while
basically,
ago.
rule the internet, if it exists, someone's talked about it.
That's true. Not always
Unless
true.
it's like a really obscure like hack or something like that.
I've talked about games that not a lot of people have talked about. And sometimes it's only Let's Players. And then I jump on that.
I talked about Mortal Kombat mythologies before it was popular. Fuck.
Who do you want to take your anger out on? Who else has ripped you off?
Ooh.
Mainly JonTron.
JonTron ripped you off?
JonTron.
JonTron didn't even do mythologies.
Wait, what?
We were talking about mythologies, and then you're saying, "Oh, who the?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Pro Jared did mythology.
Well, AVG and
Everyone ripped me off.
Okay. But you were
I'm the most original person to exist on the internet.
You were recording Zoo Race, and then like a week later, JonTron released his Zoo Race video.
I'm like, well, this is never gonna get any views. I'm pretty sure I still have it on my desktop. But I will say,
I'm just reminding you every day
I was the
that
first.
JonTron ripped you off.
Yes, I will say I was first person before Pro Jared and AVG did K Sub-Zero, and I'm proud about that.
Nice.
And I still think my video holds up.
Jumping on that shit.
So anyway, what was your all favorite part about Majora's Mask?
I think we should talk about the story. What you thought about the story?
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't know, the story of Majora's Mask.
Link falls down a hole and winds up in not Hyrule, and it fights not Ganon and saves the day. No, it's more complex than that.
Link goes down the rabbit hole, and the Skull Kid from Ocarina of Time found a creepy mask that's actually an ancient evil thing, and something about giants. Ishan, you explain the story.
So basically,
I'm
the
kind of
plot.
fuzzy on it.
Okay, Ishan, you can explain it, please.
Link, after the events of Ocarina of Time,
It's past Ishan's bedtime.
he was looking for Navi. Navi ditched him. He wanted
For
to say
whatever
bye
reason,
for
it's
real.
never explained.
Yeah, why did Navi just leave at the end of Ocarina of Time? She just flies out the window in the end of time, right? Yeah.
Because her job duty was literally just to help Link.
Oh yeah, I guess she just shows up in the beginning.
Yeah.
But why? Wait, so why does Navi? This is sidetracking, but why does Navi go to get Link in the first place in Ocarina of Time?
The Deku Link, or the Deku tree.
So the fairies are like messengers of the trees or something.
They speak for the trees.
The messengers from the Deku tree, and they're all guardians for each Kokiri child.
But Link didn't have one because he's not like a real Kokiri child, because he was like, he was the well, I thought we were all orphans here.
Anyways, so he wanted to go find Navi to say a proper goodbye, and then Skull Kid with Tattle and Tail, his fairies,
Good tell too.
Tattletale.
attacked Link, steal his ocarina, and then
And his horse.
Link heads
Link
chase
chases
after them.
them, falls down a hole, like the rabbit hole, winds up in Wonderland, which is Termina, which is, kind of stands for the end.
Yeah. It's not very. There's not a whole lot of subtlety in this game.
So he winds up in this town that is
Silence your fucking computer.
that it's very similar to Hyrule, as in a lot of the characters and such are around there, but everything is different. So he has to, and also Skull Kid with the Majora's Mask has these magical powers, and he creates a whole bunch of mischief and chaos, especially with the whole plot of the moon falling, which is, kind of scary, especially that the moon has a freaking face and it's terrifying. And so basically he got 3 days, moon's falling, gotta figure out the ways to summon 4 giants, which are guardians of Termina, to prevent the moon from falling and stop Skull Kid, get your ocarina back, your horse and everything, and save the day.
Okay, so back to the question of what we think of the story. I feel like it's more difficult to talk about this than saying like, oh, do you like the story of Ocarina of Time? Because Ocarina of Time is very simple. It's just like
good.
Yeah, it's like the hero, the girl, the bad guy. That's it. It's a very straightforward story. Whereas this is kind of like, it's still fairy tale-y.
It's not necessarily about the main story.
Yeah.
It's about the like environment and the world.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of it's about the side quest because this game was supposed to be an expansion to Ocarina of Time at first before it completely changed to a brand new game. But you can sort of like get that sense where
you can tell
the story,
that
like once you have the story, it's not that important. But then after you get that out of the way, it's okay.
Yeah.
You gotta talk about how everyone in the world acts. What do they do? How does this whole moon falling thing affect them and just everyone around you?
It's very complex, even though it's under the guise of being just the hero saving the day. Because it's all about what's under the surface in this game.
There is no girl, though. No princess to save.
There is no girl.
No Triforce, no Ganon.
There is no Triforce, no Ganon. It's a very weird Zelda game.
Yes. Not like a
No
weird
Master Sword.
Yeah, like not weird in the way of like, like a Zelda 2 or Four Swords, but it's definitely the most different standard Zelda game.
What other Zelda game? I mean, I'm not as familiar with Zelda as you guys are. I like Zelda. I've played a lot of them, but I haven't played as many.
I know
you
your
guys.
answer.
What?
The answer is Link's Awakening. What was your question?
I was going to ask
You're
you,
saying which is the worst Zelda?
how many Zelda games
That's not
don't
true.
feature Zelda or Ganon?
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening doesn't feature Zelda or Ganon?
What do you mean as in like feature?
I mean, I guess Majora's Mask
As part
has
of
like a
the big story?
flashback of
You mean
Zelda
like
or-
not like
Just part of the main story.
Yeah, it's not as part of the main story.
would Zelda
Yeah.
2 count under that? Because they're not really they're there. They're part like they're big factors in the story, but they don't do anything.
Yeah,
Then
that
they
still
should
counts. Yeah,
Okay.
because
well, there's also
isn't Link trying to save Zelda still?
Well,
'Cause
she's
like sleeping.
asleep.
Yeah, she's sleeping.
Yeah, well, if you want a good example, Link's Awakening, there's no Zelda, there's no Ganon in that, and that's a fairly, that's pre-2000 Zelda.
Okay.
Phantom Hourglass.
No Zelda, no Ganon.
Yeah, Tetra. I mean, there's Tetra, and Tetra was Zelda. But,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, she is Zelda.
She's Zelda. So
Okay,
that's
I
Zelda.
didn't know that was Zelda because I played Phantom Hourglass before Wind Waker. So
Oh really?
yeah, so
Okay.
I thought it would be a decent example.
But there aren't many games that don't have Zelda.
There's
So-
mainly some Portal games like the Oracle games.
No, that had Ganon.
Well, I mean, if you don't count the like,
No, that's the full ending though.
well, if you count just like one of the games as individual games, which they do have a combined ending. That's only after playing both of them.
Wait, what's the deal? So they each have different bosses
Basically,
that aren't Ganon.
if you play Oracle of Ages and Seasons, if you beat one of them, you'll get a password. If you enter the password into the other game, then you'll be able to play through it and have some other stuff happen in the game that would affect the other. And after you beat that game with that, so basically after you beat both games, you'll have like an extra ending part where you fight Ganon.
Okay.
But the games individually don't have Ganon as the boss of it.
You need the extra code from the other game.
Yeah.
So combined, they feature Ganon.
Yes.
Which is kind of tricky, I guess. No, that counts because, it has Ganon as the final boss of both games.
Mm-hmm.
The final boss if you have both games.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you just play like one individually, because they both, it's not like if you don't play both of them, you're not gonna you're gonna miss the whole experience. That's not
Yeah.
true. If you just play one of them, it's a complete solid Zelda game without Ganon.
Would you guys say that Majora's Mask is the weirdest Zelda game?
Yes.
In many ways, yes.
Okay, go on.
Just I'll explain it.
It's weird, as in, just like the style of how the game's played in terms of the characters, which is not a thing normal Zelda games really dive into much. Just the way everything is dark, but it doesn't look dark. And just the way like everything is treated, like not having about Zelda, not having about the Triforce, just ways to go past stuff. The mass transformations.
Yeah, it's twisted, but it's not like Tim Burton kind of dark for the sake of dark.
Yeah, Twilight Princess.
Yeah, it takes what. Yeah.
No, I think Tim Burton is more dark and silly, like Majora's Mask.
Yeah, I mean, but stylistically,
yeah.
This is going into film, but Tim Burton has a whole lots of black, lots of gothic stuff. Twilight Princess doesn't go for tropes. It just takes what you know from Ocarina and other Zelda games, and it turns it.
But with Majora's Mask, it's not completely dark and gloomy. It's not just black everywhere. It looks like Ocarina of Time looks, but just the feel and the presence of everything, and just the looming factor that you're aware of the story adds such a dark atmosphere that it is hard to create. Majora's Mask pulls it off so well with just like every little thing it does.
Yeah, like a key thing in that respect is the fact that like the game takes so many assets just straight from Ocarina, and I'm sure that has to do with the fact that the game was made in a year.
Yeah,
and so they were just pulling what they could, but they didn't just do it lazily. They did it in a way so that it just makes it kind of disturbing. Like, I know that person, but that's not who they are now.
Yeah, and also it's very different from Ocarina of Time too. Like, you know, Ocarina of Time had the desert, the like the lake, the stuff like forest. Majora's Mask had like the swamp. It's like the forest, but all fucked up.
Yeah,
it's all, and the worlds are also all poisonous. Like the swamp is all made of poison.
Yeah,
it has a canyon, but that canyon has like the dead rise from it. And you have the Great Bay, which is is kind of cloudy. That part kind of sucked, but and then you had
it's kind of cloudy,
yeah, and you had snowy, like the snowy mountains, and that's not supposed to be all snowy.
Yeah,
so
I thought that was neat with the Gorons having the snowy mountains.
Yeah, so it added, not only did it add new environments, but also added this whole thing like, hey, we had these new environments, but there are things wrong with them. It's not just like, oh, this guy is evil. This is dark because this character gets killed or something dark and edgy like that. It's like, no, even just the environment has a dark spin to it.
Yeah.
Also, fuck Great Bay. Okay. I'm just going to go over the whole thing here about the locations in the game, as I was briefly talking about how they're really interesting, just how you go about them, because there's only 4 in the game. It's not like there's a whole bunch of different places you go to like in Ocarina of Time. This is a lot more simpler, but you go around thing like in the Deku Swamp. You go there and you go around places. You eventually find the Lost Woods area, and then you find these people. You do a task for that, then you end up doing a task where you have to like ride a boat, then you go to the Deku Palace, figure out different ways about that, then you figure out how to get into Woodfall, and it's very like
yeah, there's a lot of build up.
Yeah, there's like different things that help like build you towards this way, and sort of the same thing with the Ikana Canyon, where it's like, okay, yeah, you have to figure out how to scale this giant like side of the mountain, and then the shitty fetch quest. But then you got things like Snowhead, where it's a little less like that, where it's a little more of like you can go around doing things. But then you got Great Bay, where it's like you go there, bam, there's a Zora mask, bam, you get access to like everything now.
Immediately you find the dead Zora. Immediately you can become a Zora. Immediately you get into all this shit. You don't really get the same kind of progression that you do.
Yeah, and I get it. It's fine to like they don't want everything to be like all streamlined and like make it more open. But it feels like by the time you get that, the whole shore area seems completely like just a waste of space at that point. Instead of having to adding more stuff to like the shore and then eventually leading your way to get the Zora mask, you can be like, okay, great. Now I have all this water I can explore now. Also, it's so much more open.
Isn't it kind of creepy that Link is just impersonating dead people for a majority of the game?
You have different NPCs.
Yes.
Because like
your spirits live on inside a boy.
Everybody just thinks you're these fucking people. You're just going around like...
Except for Cafe.
Except for
That's
Cafe.
like the only character. I was like, hey, you're clearly not a kid. Wait. What?
Yeah, Link's he's going around impersonating dead people. And the game doesn't really touch upon like your own personal morality at all. It's just Link is this vessel that you play as, and he's experiencing.
Well, it's the whole thing of like these people are like willingly be like, hey, you have some sort of like gift for you because song healing or whatever. Yeah. We'll lend you our power. Yeah. Go, do this for us.
That's why I like Link in this game because, well, actually, no, he's as cardboard as he was in Ocarina of Time.
I mean, it's like that in every game, and the whole basis around Link as a character in the first place was that he's the link to the person playing the game, so he shouldn't be like one type of character or the other, as long as like you see yourself as his character, experiencing it as your own.
But in Majora's Mask, it doesn't matter because everyone around him I like.
Yeah, and again, it's not about Link; it's about Link experiencing other people's lives and like everything go on. He's not there to talk to like be a character, and he's more or less there. Besides saving the day, he's observing it.
Yeah, I mean, he's you, right? That's why he doesn't talk. That's why Link he's just you. He's you as the adventurer. He's fucking Miyamoto playing in the woods as a kid.
Yeah.
Scaring all his neighbors, waving sticks at dogs, probably.
It's a Miyamoto kid again.
That Shigeru always getting in my yard.
I can't wait to bomb some dongos.
That kid, he threw bombs at my house.
He's a terrorist.
I just built this new koi pond and he threw a bomb in it. It blew up all my fish.
There's also the whole theory of like, is Link dead?
Oh yeah, I want to ask you guys about this because this goes with the Link impersonating dead people thing. I questioned you guys about this when you get the thing that lets you create duplicates of yourself.
Yeah, Elegy of Emptiness song.
Yeah, and
the Elegy of Emptiness is made to clone any empty soul.
Yeah.
And the reason why you can do it with the transformation mask is because they are people that you no longer exist.
Yeah, but you can also do it with yourself.
Yeah.
And I want you to try to explain this to me because this is something that I couldn't wrap my brain around.
Link's dead.
Link is just dead. Is that just the proof that Link is dead?
No, there's nothing that like directly. I mean, again, there's a lot of the game is sort of indirect stuff, but there is the whole thing of like people think, oh, maybe when he fell down the hole, maybe he died. Perhaps, maybe Termina, as in like the end. Maybe this is Limbo. Maybe the bright light flash at the end is him going to heaven or something. You know, maybe everyone he sees is just from like his memory back in Hyrule. There's a lot of things pointing to that he's dead. And not like it necessarily affects the game at all, but it definitely adds a lot of discussion to it as to, okay, what do these things point to?
Rewinding from the events of Majora's Mask, though, at what point does Link die? Is it when he falls off the horse?
I'm guessing.
I like the thing when he falls off the horse because just for comedic effect.
he falls off the horse because he gets scared and he just smacks his head on a rock.
I like to see it's when he's being dragged from the horse as he's thumping up and down on the ground. Like at some point his neck just snaps or gets trampled by the horse.
Yeah, you see that shit in like Western movies all the time. It's like, oh man, it's funny. The guy was dragged through town on the back of a horse. People died that way. People fucking got their like necks snapped and like their skin tore off the back of their heads by being dragged on the ground by a horse.
Yeah, but I do.
It's not fun.
No, but I do like to think it's just like when he fell like down the hole because it is weird that he just falls and like falls lightly, safely on a little flower.
So okay.
And hell, it could have been after that when Majora fucking uses weird magic shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but I guess if that happens, then Majora's real? Or at least the mask is real.
Well, the mask
could have just been something that, I mean, this is speculation now, but the mask could have just been something that Skull Kid found. And then Link, in his limbo state of being dead-ish, created he used it as like a new evil to fight.
Yeah, in
Limbo.
Yeah, he could have like seen it as, because he has it. You see Majora's Mask in the Lost Woods, so we know the mask at least exists there. So it could be a thing that, you know, when he's in Termina, he could personify this mask as the thing that kills him, as a thing with like ultimate evil power, like the game describes it as.
Yeah.
And him being the hero, he stops it because that's just what he does.
Yeah, and I guess it could also just be Link being crazy, right? Or like he's all dreaming this. And maybe it's Mario 2, he wakes up in bed. Because that would be explained by the fact that everything in Termina is straight from Hyrule. Because then it's just stuff he knows, right?
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, I know the game was bailed through time constraints.
Yeah.
So that's why there's so many NPCs from Ocarina of Time. But I like to look at it as like Link's memory from Ocarina of Time. Because all the people he recognized in Ocarina of Time is in the Majora's Mask world, and...
But what about the new people? Because he's not going to remember characters that he just met, like Mikau or Darmani, or whoever his name was.
What was his name in...
What? Well, Mikau is just like any other Zora.
Mikau was a Zora guy with the guitar. And like other characters that are only in Majora's Mask.
Darmani is also a counterpart of Darunia from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And someone like Keife is just the same model as Link
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Just with
And-
blue hair?
Yeah. And Tingle is the counterpart of Link.
Yeah, but like
Who's the
models aside, Link isn't just going to like imagine these things. I mean, again, he could be crazy, but if we're going to have the whole dead aspect, then how would he know these things or like exist?
Because that's his self-conscious now.
But like I was saying, he wouldn't know these faces
I mean, he could just create.
unless these are other people that are just in limbo or something. I don't know.
You can have dreams about people who don't exist.
I think there's a thing about like you can't see faces you don't know in dreams.
Well,
I think that's like an actual thing.
yeah, Ishan said that like, what is
squirrel
it?
attacked him.
Ishan had a dream about a squirrel attacking him and screaming in his ear.
Mhm.
But what was it? The Goron in Majora's Mask is based off of the Goron in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. The
What are their
leader.
names again?
Darunia and Ocarina and Darmani and Majora's Mask.
Okay, yeah, Darmani. Because you don't see Darunia in Majora's Mask. You
No,
don't see one
but-
based on his model. Yeah.
But like other characters like Mikau, there's no counterpart to him in Ocarina of Time.
Well, there's also no Zora and other Zoras in all the Zoras in Ocarina of Time are the same model, anyways.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying
Yeah,
like
Link could
Mikau is a distinctly
Those are very
different.
few characters anyway. That's
Link
just
could
three
just be a
people.
racist and created a Zora based off
No,
the Zoras he's seen.
You're not racist off Zoras. Racist against Dekus because they're scrubs. As the game
Fucking-
clearly mentions multiple times.
Fucking Deku scrubs.
Hashtag race wars.
Hashtag Deku Scrub.
So, it's another aspect about the game. What do you think about the whole, like, big gimmick with the masks?
I think it's cool. Like with the transformation masks or just all the masks?
Just
in
all the
general?
mask transformations, side quest stuff. Just
We
whatever.
never really used every single one.
Yeah.
most
there's-
of them are useless.
Yeah. In
Besides the end
our
of the game.
playthrough, we got all the masks, which ended up in us getting the Fierce Deity mask at the end. So, we didn't do all the side quests, right? We just did.
No, we
just
we didn't do all the side quests. It gave us like heart pieces. So we got some heart pieces, but our main objective was be in the game with all the masks.
Yeah.
I think the one mask I don't really like at all because I don't use it much is the Mask of Sense.
I like using. I like seeing Link sniff things.
Oh, is that the big one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one you have to use to find mushrooms.
I like it aesthetically.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely interesting masks that are like one-time use, or it's kind of funny, like the one that makes Link dance around, or the one that makes him sing a song,
Yeah.
or or more useful ones like the bunny hood or the stone mask. And you have the transformation mask like Deku, Zora, and Goron that change the gameplay up a lot and adds more variety than Ocarina of Time did.
Yeah, but I think it's neat that they use these masks as opposed to just items that you get throughout the game or whatever else, because it also adds to the aesthetic of the game just being fucking creepy.
Yeah, like is this really you? Is this is this what you want? What do these masks represents? Everyone wears masks, metaphorically speaking.
They probably just looked at the Happy Mask Salesman model from the first game and were like, we could do so much more
Well,
with that.
from what I understand, they did see like the masks, like all the stuff they did with the mask, which wasn't really much of a great time. Being like, we really like that. We want to expand upon that.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool because there's a lot of interesting things like the Star Fox masks, how they're all like in the same row of like
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into the Mask of Sense because all the other masks at least get you a heart piece. Mask of Sense only gets you
Yeah, they are useless.
a blue potion,
Pretty much.
which you can get instantly from that Deku
Minikana.
guy. Yeah. I even think that the Circus Leader mask is more valuable than the Mask of Sense, the Luigi mask.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot.
Well, I
of
mean, it's more
yeah.
valuable for comedy reasons because that thing's fucking
That
hilarious.
that got a side quest in the 3DS version of the Circus Leader because it didn't have one.
What was the quest?
The Gorman leader was like in the hotel crying because of the fact that he never got his carnival happening, and if you show him the mask, then like he gets happy, and then
Wait, the mask of him crying?
yeah,
He gets happy?
It reminds
He sees
him
himself.
of his. No, I got it backwards. You use the Circus Leader mask he gave you. You show the brothers that mask, and then they realize that his brother's crying because of the ceremony being canceled. So then they want you to deliver some milk from Romani Ranch to Clocktown, and then that cheers him up. That's where you get the heart piece.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, there are masks, non-transformation masks that are useful, but a lot of them are really useless or like a one-time use, and it's like like they're okay. And they're just more like aesthetic than anything.
Yeah, just to build your mask collection.
Mask, I say, are the most useful. Probably the Blast Mask, Bunny Hood, Mask of Truth, Stone mask, and the Great Fairy Mask.
I'm surprised the Link doesn't have a giant pack full of masks like the Happy Mask Salesman.
He carries on a giant backpack
with all the shit he's carrying.
I mean, as long as the one where he had a fucking raft and a step ladder.
Whoop! Here it is.
He has one of those like dimensional pocket thits. Another thing I liked about
it's like the Joker in Batman. He just pulls his giant gun out of his pants.
Another thing I liked about Majora's Mask, I liked was also like really weird was the songs in it. Because in Ocarina of Time, a lot of the songs were kind of like melodies, like this, he plays, he hears all this orchestral music that teleports him to, like the lake or the fire dungeon or wherever. And this one, like a lot of them are like, not only do you use different instruments, different kinds of music, you have a bossa nova song.
Yeah, the music in this game is great. Yeah, it's so strange.
Yeah, it is weird bossa nova song, but a lot of them were just kind of like they just sound weird. Like one of the songs, I think it was Sonata Awakening, was like da 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 da. Like they sound more like ambient almost compared to Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound like classically musical. It just kind of, the madman on the piano.
No, yeah, or like the Elegantine da 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 or whatever. It's a lot more somber sounding. Yeah. It's kind of like we're playing the song. This does something, but it's not like I'm a one man band.
Yeah, Majora's Mask soundtrack is darker. It's still ambient.
Stone Tower is amazing.
Ocarina of Time track. Ocarina of Time is also ambient, but you couldn't really hum any dungeon music from that game or any Zelda game after Majora's Mask or from the 3D Zeldas.
You don't think so? I can't think of anything, but
yeah. Exactly. It's only Stone Tower's. Actually, no, Stone Tower's really the only one you can really hum to, except for Snowhead, but it only has like 3 notes.
Da 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 da.
Yeah. Never found Ocarina of Time's soundtrack overall memorable, honestly. But Majora's Mask.
Well, I'm just talking about like the Ocarina songs. I mean, obviously, Ocarina of Time. Normal music. Yeah, Ocarina of Time does have a lot of ambient stuff, and a lot of it does sound the same. It goes for a lot of. I mean, not like it's bad. And there's a lot of tracks in Twilight Princess I do like that are just ambient ones, like City in the Sky. I liked.
Okay. We're gonna be wrapping up on time here soon, but I have a big question to ask because we've been doing a lot of comparing this game to Ocarina of Time, which you have to. It's a sequel, and that's what everybody does. There's Ocarina of Time and there's Majora's Mask. Which is better?
Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask. Ocarina of Time, I can definitely see for a casual person is more memorable. It's the one they jump into.
Yeah.
But just as game, there's more things to do in Majora's Mask. It looks better. It uses a lot of items that Ocarina of Time had, like the ice and fire arrows, and made them useful. You get more transformations, adds more gameplay to it. There are more side quests. It's it's darker in tone, but still looks bright. You get the best of both worlds. It makes you think about stuff like is Link dead or what's the backstory behind this place.
Okay.
And just
all that is true. But Majora's Mask is not nearly as accessible as Ocarina of Time.
Well,
and I'm wondering
to a casual player, yes.
Yeah. So is it still the best Zelda game even though it's not the one the people should play first?
I mean, again, it's also all it comes to the question of do people prefer 2D Zelda or 3D Zelda?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into saying, is this the best Zelda? I mean, is this my favorite Zelda? I'd probably say, yeah, I do like a lot of other Zelda games, though. Like Link's Awakening, I think it's really good. And hell, I like Zelda, too. It's hard to say is the best Zelda, because, again, there's a lot of people that, people that grew up with something more like Wind Waker who might, have more of a nostalgia factor and stuff towards that game.
Yeah, Majora's Mask is not as accessible. Wind Waker Wind Waker is very accessible. Twilight Princess is very accessible.
Objectively speaking, probably not for Majora's Mask because again, it is a tougher game than Ocarina of Time is.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things you have to consider about what makes it so great, to a widespread audience.
Do you have any comments on this?
I was about to say what I like about the Zelda series is how different the games are. Because if you're going into the Zelda series, if you're not a fan of Majora's Mask, chances are you'll be into Wind Waker, because in Majora's Mask, you're probably going to be pressured with the time travel, the amount of side quests there are, the amount of dungeons there are.
Oh yeah, I was really pressured with the time travel and the amount of stuff there is to do.
Yeah, and just like even like because the first time I played through it, I didn't know how to save the game. And that was kind of a big hurdle to overcome, because the only way to like actually save is to go back in time. So you have to really consider how you do everything, like time wise, and just like how you manage what you do, what you have, what you can do.
Yeah,
and someone playing through this can be like, oh, this is too much for me to handle.
This isn't impossible to get into.
No,
I played the first. Like, I played for 3 hours by myself after the first time we all played together, because when we were playing together, it was like, oh my god, this game is like overload. There's so much shit happening. You're timed every minute of every day. So how is anybody going to be able to just jump into this?
That's what the expansion pack does to you.
That's the power of the N64 expansion. But
like you talk to people and you can like figure out what to do.
I was going to say that it isn't nearly as intimidating as, or at least from the outset, it's not nearly as intimidating as it seems.
Especially in the beginning when you have, a lot of time to just kind of kill.
Yeah. Like, fucking Tattle is there for a reason. She tells you what to do. This game isn't impossible.
And we did use a strategy guide playing a few times.
Yeah, but you guys have already played through the games multiple times.
That was really only to find stuff.
I mean, there were plenty of things I don't remember from it.
Yeah. I think the Majora's Mask is a very interesting game. I don't know if it's like... It's always on lists of the greatest game ever made. I don't know about that. But I think the Majora's Mask it stands out among all the Zelda games because it's just so strange. It's so different from everything else. And it's really memorable because of that. Because a lot of the Zelda games blend together, and Majora's Mask just sits on its own rock with the moon crashing toward that rock.
I mean, it definitely leaves an impression.
It definitely does leave an impression. It's very stressful.
And again, is it one of the greatest?
But that's not a bad thing.
Is it one of the greatest games of all time? Again, I don't know. There's a lot of factors that goes into it, but I do think it is a great game. That if you like Zelda, you should definitely try it out.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. I think we're pretty unanimous on that.
So we just spent an hour telling you that Majora's Mask is pretty neat.
Yes, it's not. It's like it isn't flawless, but nothing is.
What was your favorite parts of the game?
My favorite part of the game. I really dug the ending with the tree inside the moon. I thought that just like thematically, that was really cool.
I really like rolling around as a Goron. That's so fun.
I was also really interested by the part where in the cafe quest where you play as Cafe. Because that just kind of came out of nowhere. And it's unlike anything else in the game.
Good thing I did that. You were about to die.
I was about to. It's all about the feel of the world. It's all about how everything is just a little bit off kilter. And it's pretty cool. Majora's Mask. It's pretty cool. Quote Yomarz 2016.
And it's a short game. It only takes 3 days.
Yeah, it really would have been.
It's only 72 hours to beat.
It would have taken 3 days, actually. Like in our time.
In like real time?
I guess so.
We only played it once a week.
That's true.
Yeah, it did take us kind of 3 days to beat through it.
Oh my god. The game is real. It took 3 days to beat the game. Okay, well, I guess that wraps up the inaugural episode of the Rumble Pak.
Rumble.
The Yomarz Podcast on youtube.com/Yomarz. It's my podcast because it's my channel. So suck it, you fucks.
Hashtag Yomarz sucks.
Did that trending on Twitter. So,
brought to you by Pringles.
Why don't you guys plug your YouTube? What do you do?
There's ePad for live streams on video games, and then Okamo a Pokemon channel for competitive battling and discussions for Pokemon.
You just
as well.
started the Okamo channel, so there's only one video up right now, right?
Yeah.
Be the first subscriber.
Be one of the first subscribers. And go ahead.
And my channel is youtube.com/the aesthetic, where I do a variety of different game shows, mainly reviews and looks at kind of obscure-ish or just kind of oddity games or peripherals. And it's a load of fun. Also follow me on Twitter at Virtual Sleaze for updates and other just fun stuff I end up posting there. Subscribe if you haven't, because it's loads of fun.
And if you're watching this, you're probably watching it on my YouTube channel. But for the uninformed, it is youtube.com/Yomarz Show. I believe it's youtube.com/Yomarz Show. I may have gotten that wrong. But I'm on Twitter. Just search Yomarz. I'm on Facebook. I don't really post there.
At Mr. Yomarz.
At Mr. Yomarz. And if you want to support the show, you can support us on Patreon.
Him.
Well,
you can support me on Patreon. I do have a Patreon.
You'd be supporting the Rumble Pak Podcast. That's a great name, the Rumble Pak.
Original.
Yeah, very original.
No one's ever done
It's another one of these shows named after a video game, something or other. Fucking great. All right, that's it.
I wanted the virtual boys, but you guys.
That's it. We're out. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
So long. Farewell.
Bye.